Well, tonight, the U.S. House of Representatives will deliver its single article of impeachment to the Senate. But a trial is still weeks away as senators struck a deal late last week to delay the impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump. Bloomberg congressional reporter Anna Edgerton joins me now with the latest. Anna, great to have you with us on Quick Take this afternoon. Before we get to impeachment, I want to talk stimulus because stocks are moving. They reversed course this morning, moving lower after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that Congress is going to try to pass a stimulus bill in a month or more, which to some investors is a far longer time frame than markets had been expecting. Why the delay here?
Well, it kind of depends on what a procedure Democrats have to use to get this through Congress. They could do it very quickly using budget reconciliation, which is kind of a fast-track process for fiscal bills, but they would need every single Senate Democrat to be on board with that. And what we saw yesterday is that some Senate Democrats are worried about how much Joe Biden's proposal costs. He proposed $1.9 trillion, and even some centrist Democrats are saying, maybe that's more than we really need, and we should target some of that relief to Americans that really need it.
So does it look like that the way that elements of this recovery of Biden's economic agenda will get past Congress is in pieces, just as Republicans suggest?
They had their kind of initial opening call on this last night, and we got some really great details on how the Biden administration presented their proposal and also how it was received, especially by this group of 16 centrist senators. Now, these are Republicans and Democrats who are kind of the first group to push through the last stimulus bill, and they're going to be the ones to watch on how and whether this stimulus bill moves through Congress quickly. And really, the deadline that we're looking at is kind of mid-March because that's when some of the provisions that were in the last round of stimulus are going to expire.
Okay, so let's talk impeachment here because as members of Congress and especially senators like to say, they can walk and chew gum at the same time. So it's not just about the stimulus package. It's not just about the economic recovery. It's also about impeachment. We are expecting to get that article of impeachment to the Senate from the U.S. House of Representatives tonight. What happens next?
Yeah, today's a really important symbolic day. You have all the House managers line up and kind of march across the building through the rotunda to the Senate, and they'll actually read the single article of impeachment on the floor of the Senate tonight. But the trial's not going to start until the week of February 8th. So that gives the impeachment managers from the House, who kind of act as the prosecutors, and Trump's defense team time to prepare their arguments. And so, you're going to see some posturing on both sides. And what will be really interesting is to see where individual Republicans are going to line up on this, because there's going to need to be at least 17 Republicans voting against former President Trump to reach the two-thirds majority needed to convict him. And that's a pretty high bar to pass.
It is a high bar, and I wonder how that changes and shifts today with the news just this morning that Ohio Senator Rob Portman is saying that he's not running for re-election when his term is up in 2022, which I think some observers are basically saying, hey, that could give him some cover to actually vote to impeach the president, former president, excuse me.
Totally. That's definitely one thing that we're looking at, that news just breaking this morning. So, we're looking at people like, now Rob Portman. Pat Toomey also said that he's not running for re-election. Richard Burr, who was the top senator on the top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee, also not running for re-election. And then you've got kind of that centrist group of Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, who have been willing to push back on the president in the past. We're getting more names to look at, but that still doesn't add up to 17. So, again, high bar, but, a little bit of movement in that space.
What happens if Mitch McConnell says that he will vote to convict the president?
That would be a huge moment. And, he definitely has a lot of influence over how Republicans are seeing this case. And he had an interesting position initially, saying that the president's conduct was impeachable, that he, was obviously very furious with the president for stoking this mob of supporters that overran the Senate, the institution that McConnell has dedicated his life to. So, McConnell himself has shown some anger at the former president, but whether or not that translates into a vote to join Democrats in convicting the president, that would take a lot of conviction from the Senate Minority Leader to actually do that.
And I keep saying the president because President Trump was president for 4 years, but I keep meaning to say former president. That's going to take me a little while to get used to. I just want to end talking about an executive order from just in the last few hours. President Biden signing an order that reverses Trump's transgender ban in the military. Writing in press materials from the White House that President Biden believes that gender identity should not be a bar to military service and that America's strength is found in its diversity. The military is no exception. What is the effect of this ban, of reversing this ban from the Trump era?
Yeah, this is one of the things that we've seen from Biden already working to undo some of President Trump's executive actions. And anything that Trump did unilaterally without going through Congress, Biden can undo just about. So, that's where we see kind of the back and forth ping-ponging of policy after Trump had undone a lot of Obama's executive actions. So the transgender military ban is an important symbol for Biden to show that he is reversing some of the discriminatory policies in place. But we'll see how it plays out amongst the military ranks. A lot of discussion these days about the division between civilian and military leadership.
Bloomberg's Anna Edgerton in Washington. Anna, thank you, as always, for your time and for joining us on Quick Take.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.